Hello and welcome back to Unrendered. My guest, as I said, is Skinny Fabulous. Skinny, welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, so you are no longer the reigning soca monarch. You reigned from 2008 to 2010. 3 years of rule, literally. How does it feel not to be wearing the crown?
I would say in the first few hours of not getting the crown, quite naturally there will be a feeling of disappointment. And actually in this case, there was that feeling of disappointment even before going on stage to perform, because, you know, in show business, a lot of things go wrong beforehand, you know. So, I mean, I felt it coming. So my energies even taking the stage were a little off.
So you didn't have that confidence at the moment of going into your slot.
Right.
You didn't have that confidence. You had
I was thrown off by a few things.
Okay.
To be quite honest, you know what I mean? Well, for one, the climax and the main, what should I say, special effect, or that big bang of my performance at the last minute wasn't able to work, right? So, and some extreme measures were taken to get that effect here, right? Because what had happened was that we ordered certain things, well, not ordered, but we brought in a few persons, some professionals, to pull off an effect, right? And some of the equipment were accidentally shipped to Grenada, and this is on Saturday.
Right.
So we had to get it. Yeah. So we had to get it from Grenada to St. Vincent, and it really and truly we took some extreme measures to get it here, and only to discover that, like, let's say half an hour at position like number 7.
Right.
We were told that there's something wrong with the fuse and the electrical box that sends power to this thing. Right. So I mean, it threw me off a little bit. So it was actually to rework how this storyline would go, but we had to work with what we had. And then there were a few things that I began to notice at the time where that was more of a crowd issue too.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Tell me, I'm going to get back on the crowd issue. You're performing a skit, basically. And I mean, this has become the norm for presentations at the Soca Monarch show. I guess there's a balance between that and your actual rendition of the song.
Right.
Now, I didn't see it, and a lot of our viewers, as much as there were people at the park, I'm sure there are a lot of our viewers who didn't see it as well. So just tell me, what was in that story? What was the skit about?
Well, the thing is, right, I know what people expected of my performance, and I really wanted to not do what they expected, which was a typical storyline. You bring a cave on stage, you come out as a caveman, you have caveman dancers, you turn off the lights, because I said no lights, no power.
Yes.
You turn off the lights, you know, and you embrace this whole darkness of the cave.
So the obvious.
Which in fact may have worked, and pleasing people's expectations is actually not always a bad thing. It's probably it works out more.
But in this instance, what did you set out to do?
No, me, because I like to be different, and I like to try to outdo what I've done before. I set up a storyline which was caveman falls in love with cavewoman. They make a baby. At the point at which they're rejoicing over their newborn child, a strange-looking man comes on stage and tells them, listen, fear not, but I'm going to really have to take your baby, because he's not an ordinary child. He's actually a child that will bring some level of prosperity and some kind of futuristic elements to this cave, because it's a dark place. You don't need to be in this. So hesitantly, the cave people gave up their child, and then the man said, okay, I'll return him in 25 years. So in 25 years, just look for this man. Just look for your baby as a big man.
So that man you?
Well, that man is supposed to be me, right? Because I don't want to be a caveman in the end. Right? Because one, I don't already have the body structure to be a caveman too, you know.
What is the body structure of a caveman?
I don't know, man. It's a typical image of a caveman. It's a very healthy-looking man.
More like me. Then.
Yeah, you know. So, no, I just wanted to do something different. So I eventually, the storyline set up in such a way that I could have come from a different time back to the cave. Not necessarily I'm coming out of it. I was actually going to the cave like everybody else. Yeah. And my entrance to the cave was just so happened to be a jetpack.
And that's one of the things that people criticize you on. The fact that you have this caveman theme, but yet, as if through a time tunnel, you are with an energy pack
Yes.
which is not
Well,
the sort of stuff you expect to see in the cave age.
That's the beauty of thinking outside the box and lateral thinking too. And if you followed what was being said in the beginning as a storyline, it would have lent itself to a very logical plot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you weren't paying attention, and I mean, obviously there were a few flaws in it, but you know it is.
Let me ask you a direct question. In retrospect, do you think you were attempting to do too much?
Perhaps, but that's me, because I always attempt to beat me. You know what I mean? When I go into this competition year after year, I always look back on what I did before, and my main objective is to beat that, not to beat Fireman or to beat Madzart or Problem Child, because I'm never in that space. So my performances are never really geared towards what they have done, what they have sung, and I'm not about that. I'm about beating what I did last year.
Right.
So I don't know, probably, yeah, some persons would say I've outdone myself, and to my own disadvantage.
Yes, because one of the criticisms I've heard was that it went on too long as well. So it was a question of, when is this skit going to end? When are we going to hear Skinny actually start to sing?
Right.
Is that a reasonable sort of criticism?
Well, I mean, yeah, you know, I mean, in all fairness, some persons expect to have action from the time the MC says, yes, Skinny Fabulous, let's go. Let's go. I really don't want all this drama, you know what I mean? I don't really want that. If I want that, I'll go Peace Memorial Hall and look at it.
Or you go to Miss Carnival.
Miss Carnival or whatever, right? Yeah, but my objective from ever since I came into Soca Monarch was always to be that person who brought something different. Because the typical Soca Monarch performance really is main performer, dancers, costume, rendition, talks, run to the left, run to the right, show me a rag.
Right.
You know, and who does that the best wins. You know what I mean? So it's just my attempt to do things different. And
let's talk about the Soca Monarch show. I mean, you've been a soldier in that battlefield for quite a while.
Quite
and
a while.
Emerged at the top spot for 3 years consecutively.
Yes.
And you haven't done too badly this time. You just one below the top. What are your views on Soca Monarch as a show, as the premier event in Carnival, as it would appear now? Is it getting better? Is it trending in a better way, or is it has it plateaued, has it peaked, and probably needs to be re-examined?
Well, I'll make a disclaimer before I speak, yes. The folks at CDC, they're my friends, and they help me out a lot.
They don't mind criticism?
No, but I have to say that first, right? Yeah. So in terms of how open they are to
constructive
enabling,
criticism.
No, I want to say this right. In terms of how open they are to enabling an artist to basically explore his imagination or whatever, they're pretty open to that.
Okay, good.
Right, but this is the problem now. The show has been the same thing for the past couple of years, right?
Same thing meaning format?
Same format, same structure, same layout. I mean, there's no, let's reinvent Soca Monarch. Let's give it a theme this year.
Okay.
Or there's no new incentive for artists who want to come in, for artists who've been there. And so you find that it's basically nothing to look forward to except for the artists themselves. And what has happened over the past couple of years, it has become a rivalry just between two artists.
Okay.
So if for instance, I was, I don't know, Rekka or Madzart or whatever, I would always feel at a disadvantage because the Soca Monarch has now come, what is either Skinny or Fire.
Yeah, but could that blame be laid on the feet of the CDC? Or is it that the crowd, the audience that go there, there's a significant portion of them that either come to support you or come to support Fireman.
Right. But the thing with CDC, the only thing I have to say with CDC is that they have to realize the potential in the show and realize that the show is centered around the artist and what the artist can do, right? So in terms of, I raised it in a meeting this year too, and I don't know, I got a little licks for it. But one, the appearance fee should be higher. And even if you can't afford higher, then you should give more in the beginning. And if it's anything, they don't collect any in the end. So if you have $1,000 for parents' fee, might as well just give the $1,000 and expect nothing in the end, right? And if you don't show up, then you have to give back the $1,000 or whatever. But in this day and age, a $500 deposit or advance is really not enough to even pay a dance group of 10.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So it can cost you if
if you just go in into you looking for exposure and you paying for that exposure when you're going to Soca Monarch.
Right.
You know what I mean? So and I think as well that the prize money is obviously an issue.
What is the prize money?
The prize money is $22,000.
Okay.
Right? And while you may not you may not be able to raise it in any big significant way, there are other things that you could throw in there. Probably you could get sponsorship of, like, I don't know, like a big screen TV, a car, get someone's a piece of land or whatever.
So you think CDC should make a bigger effort to get more beef into the prizes for Soca Monarch?
Yes. Yes, because it takes a lot. When Fireman does a presentation, he's not just doing it with chump change, you know. You know what I mean? There was a year Fireman lit himself a fire and do craziness. These things cost.
Right.
These things cost to do, and then they're often not offset even by the prize money. Or when by the time you get the prize money, you really have made nothing. And for artists who are based in St. Vincent and have not yet discovered that regional appeal, their only bread and butter is Soca Monarch. And if that's your only bread and butter, then boy.
But if you had to look at the other components of Carnival, you look at the mass, calypsos, etc. I have heard throughout the ages people make similar complaints. The mass men say that the end reward is not worth the effort. Calypsonians say the same thing. So there seems to be a general problem already.
I can tell you something very controversial. Boy, this is Unrendered.
Yes.
This is Unrendered.
So go ahead.
Good. The Soca Monarch pays for the entire carnival, it seems. So Soca
You know
Monarch,
that as a fact, or you just making that speculation?
it's a informed assumption.
Okay.
Right? It pays for a lot of the other shows. So the Calypso shows, the Pan, whatever. The Soca Monarch revenue pays for that, which is, from a business standpoint, not good.
Right.
Each event is supposed to be designed in such a way that it should pay for itself. And if it's not paying for itself, re-examine it and let it find a way for it to pay for itself. One show cannot pay all shows, right? And the other thing, there's some simple things, and this is probably not even the place to say it. But
Don't say it.
I mean, if you raise the entrance, so if you carry up $10, it's $30, and you charge an extra 10. That extra 10 times 13,000 people in a park is giving you good. And even even that alone, if you raise the entrance fee, then raise your parents' fee, raise the prize money too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you know, and Soca Monarch crowd isn't getting smaller.
Yes.
It isn't. So a simple $5 extra could actually clear up that $22,000 to even 25, and everybody else live good.
Let's look at and let's stay with this price structure business. Let's look at Miss SVG Carnival. Miss SVG in particular, she gets a university scholarship. Okay?
Right.
Which, if you put that in dollar and cents terms, it probably works out to be about $90,000, I assume, over a period of time. Okay, it's a noble gesture because you want to say that these women are not supposed to be just beauty, but they're supposed to be brains as well. But isn't this a legacy thing? Are we still not thinking back into the 60s and the 70s that, you know what, Calypsonians and Soca people are ordinary?
Right.
Okay? So we're going to give them ordinary prizes.
Ordinary things, yes.
But the people who come in for Carnival Queen, who enter that Miss SVD competition,
there's a better prestige to it.
Yes, there's more prestige.
Yeah.
But that's a dangerous legacy because that actually, I could trace that back to like post-colonial thinking, you know? And are we going to make this transition? Do you think there's something you guys can do to make that transition?
I would be an advocate for that, you know, because what we need to realize is, apart from banana and tourism, music is also one of our main exports. I can tell you that. You know what I mean? A lot of persons in the region look into St. Vincent to see what's next, because every year, I can tell you, we have the highest export of new artists every year within a 5-year period, right? When you look at Trinidad, there's one set of artists that you hear about. You'll hear about the Marshall, the Bunches. There's no new artists that you hear about. You see, since, let me say, 10 years ago, there's also from the Kevin Little to the James P to the Zola to the Problem Child to the Me. You know what I mean? There's always something new coming out of St. Vincent. It's time for we to recognize that and treat it as a revenue-earning industry. Music, artists, with a brand, St. Vincent. When I travel, it's St. Vincent people. They see Skinny Fabulous, but there's always the question, so where is he from?
Okay.
And where is that island? And where is their carnival? So when are we going there? You know what I mean? So to treat, yeah, big up to Miss Carnival and the nice beauty queens and whatnot, but there's prestige in your soca monarch as well. There's prestige in your calypsonians. Never mind Calypso is boy. Calypso is as an art form is suffering. But still, recognize that these people go out there and these are the face of your country. This is the face.
So it's really a transition, really, because we're coming from that legacy of what I call discrimination between social classes.
Right.
And we are into 2011, and we still haven't made that full swing to recognize people who sing calypso and people who sing soca are just as socially acceptable, if you want, as somebody who goes in for Carnival Queen.
Precise.
Anyway, we're at the end of our first section, so let's just take a break, and when we come back, we pick up more with you.
Yeah.
You're looking at Unrendered. I'm Tony Regisford, and my guest is Skinny Fabulous. More with Skinny when we come back.